All right, welcome back to this channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Guillermo Rigondeaux saying that he is going to knock out John Rael Casimero in this upcoming fight, and the fact that that more than likely will lead to a second fight between the two, Rigondeaux and Nonito Donaire. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Now, before I get into the subject matter of the video, please make sure, if you're not subscribed to the channel, to subscribe to the channel. Also, like the video, share the video. It really does go a long way to growing the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about the little guys in boxing, talking about the Bantamweight division at 118 pounds, and specifically a fight that is coming up between Guillermo El Chical Rigondeaux and John Rael Casimero, and this is going to be on a Showtime card coming up, and is part of the 118-pound. Man, I want to say it's a resurgence of the 118-pound division, and in a way where you're bringing two fighters that may at the end of this fight hold championships in that division, and that is Guillermo Rigondeaux and Nonito Donaire. So Rigondeaux was a perennial 122-pound champion. He's moving down in weight because people are ducking him, and he couldn't get anybody to fight him at 122 pounds. So he moved down to 118 pounds, down to bantamweight, where a whole lot of action is going on right now. And it's really one of the hotter divisions in boxing. I usually don't talk a lot about the smaller weight classes, because when you get down to, like, the 115, 112, 115, and down there in that area, the stuff that's going on there is like, it's pretty much, to me, it's a weight class where you could just combine a lot of those guys into the same weight class. A lot of people have, accolades of winning, the championships in 3 and 4 divisions. But, when you have divisions separated by 2 pounds, 3 pounds, it's kind of like, what's the point of it? Let's just all get them all into one division and let them fight. And that kind of seems like, as far as the best fighters in the lower weight class, what's going on at 118 pounds right now, where you have Nonito Donaire, who I believe Nonito Donaire at one point in time was fighting as high as 130 pounds and came or as high as 126 pounds, and he came back down past 122, where he won division belts before, and is now all the way down in the 118-pound division. He just had a fight against Nordine Bali and knocked him out a few months ago, and is now the WBC champion. Before that, he gave a very good fight and broke the orbital bone of Monster Inoue and showed that he was back in that division. So now Rigondeaux is moving down to the 118-pound division and fighting a guy that's coming up several weight classes, and John Rael Casimero. So in the interview that took place setting up the fight, and a lot of the things that people have been saying around this fight about Casimero is that Casimero has the power and he's going to stop Guillermo Rigondeaux. Now, if you look at how Casimero fights, and you look at, kind of just look at his record, you'll see that, when he was down, when he was at, the lower weight classes, I think the 112 weight class, 115 weight class, he was, his knockout ratio was kind of here and there. He would get a bunch of knockouts, but then he would lose. Laney, I can't always kill his name, was somebody that beat him and knocked him out earlier in his career for the 100. I believe that was for the 115-pound title. But anyway, he's moving up now, moved up to 118, and he's getting a lot more knockouts. I think he's like on a six fight knockout streak. And so I don't know. I've looked for the betting odds on the fight. I've not been able to see any betting odds posted for the fight, but just my word of mouth and what I hear is a lot of people are behind Casimero to beat Guillermo Rigondeaux. So Guillermo Rigondeaux is hearing this, and Guillermo Rigondeaux is hearing about his power, and he's like, hold on. what happened to my power, right? And if you're familiar with Guillermo Rigondeaux at all, first of all, Guillermo Rigondeaux is a guy that should be on a top 10 pound for pound. He has been at different times. He lost to Lomachenko, and I think, and rightfully so. When you pull out of a fight on a hand injury, I could see how that might, turn some people off because they think that you quit during the fight. However, that fight was up at 130 pounds, and Guillermo Rigondeaux is now fighting a full, what is that, 1, 2, 3 weight classes down from there. And he's making the weight comfortable, and he looks like he belongs at 118. Because even when he was at 122, he was looking like the guys that he was fighting were a lot bigger than him, even at 122 pounds. So now he's pretty much at his weight class, real weight class at 118. Now I think you're going to see that his power is even more devastating at 118 than it was at 122. So anyway, there's a lot of a lot of publicity for Casimero related to his power, and Guillermo Rigondeaux saying, "Look, I don't know what you're talking about because I'm the one that has the power." And if you think about it, he really does, because he was toting that power at 122 against much bigger guys. And Casimero is down at 118, and his kind of power is hit and miss if you look at his career. Casimero has many more fights, but I don't think the power is what Casimero was counting on in winning this fight. Casimero is counting on Guillermo Rigondeaux getting old. And because that's what he said. He asked, what do you think about the fight? What do you think he's bringing to the table? And Casimero's like, oh, he's an old man. Well, I'm going to tell you, underestimate old men at your risk, because if they have a good night and they're off that, they may not be able to, to go 5 days out of a week, right? But that one day that they're good, you better watch out, because they've got a lot of information that they have stored up over the years in fighting and doing what they've done. So I think that is kind of like a crazy way to go into a fight expecting Guillermo Rigondeaux to get old, especially because Guillermo Rigondeaux has not gotten old yet, and Guillermo Rigondeaux really hasn't had a lot of wear and tear on his body. He's not had any fights where he's taken a considerable amount of punishment. He stays in shape. Like he's always training. Even though he's had these big long gaps, he's come off these big layoffs, very, very sharp. And I personally, I don't see it for Casimero. I see this fight for Guillermo Rigondeaux. But what I'm hoping is that Guillermo Rigondeaux wins this fight, and then we can get a rematch of the Nonito Donaire Guillermo Rigondeaux fight, because that would be at 118 pounds, because that would make the WBO, I do believe, the WBO belt would be with Guillermo Rigondeaux, and the WBC belt would be with Nonito Donaire, and that could be a reliving of a terrific fight that really did upset, where Guillermo Rigondeaux upset Nonito Donaire many years ago, and see how that turns out. Now both fighters, have matured very, very well. Nonito Donaire, I think, is really having a resurgence, but we'll see after this fight. But I wanted to make sure that I talked about this fight because Guillermo Rigondeaux is one of the best fighters in boxing, one of the best little guys that I've ever seen, and I think he deserves his kudos. And I love to see this guy has stuck around in boxing this long and has another opportunity to get a world championship. But anyway, you let me know what you think about the fight in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.